Mastering Your Credit and Your Credit Score. I'm Carol Roberts, your Community Resource Development Agent with the University of Florida IFAS Extension Service in St. Lucie County. Today we're going to talk about the types of credit we use and how to use them wisely. We're going to talk about how to determine our credit score and how to find our credit report. You're owed one once a year. And once we learn a little bit about our credit report and our credit scoring and how it affects our lives, we're going to talk about how to use a credit card wisely and just a little bit about some debt reduction methods in case we haven't been using credit wisely and we need some help in that area. So let's get started. Your credit score is really free and it is really important. More and more, our credit score is used to make decisions about us by lenders, auto insurers, employers, landlords. They need some sort of a tool that will help them decide if we're a good risk or not. It makes sense. So your credit score determines the annual percentage rate you might earn on a loan or a credit card that you might be issued. Your auto insurer really cares more about your payment history than your driving history. And that is a bigger factor in your credit score or in your premium, the cost of the premiums that you're going to pay for auto insurance than you would imagine. So let's look at how we can, what we know about our credit score and how we find out what people know about us. How do you know your credit information? Well, there is one site on the web that gives you your free credit report once a year from all three major credit bureaus, completely free, without impacting your score. You're allowed to look at your credit report once a year. So you can choose to go to annualcreditreport.com once a year and access all three credit bureaus, or you can choose to go every 4 months or so and monitor and check one of the bureaus and monitor your credit all year long. If you've ever been a victim of identity theft, or if you've been denied credit, a job, or a place to live based on your credit history, then you're owed a free credit report from whoever denied you. They have to let you know which credit bureau they accessed, and then you have the opportunity to go and see what they saw that made them deny you. You have at least 30 days to do that. If you are accessing your credit report and you really want to know what your score is, at annualcreditreport.com, each of the major credit bureaus will allow you the opportunity to purchase your score for a few dollars. It's up to you. You don't have to. And actually, some banks are now providing that service. Some financial institutions with your credit card account or your bank account, you might have access to free credit monitoring. They let you know if your score goes up or down. A lot of people using financial apps on our phone to let us know what our credit history is and how it's changed. So it's really good that more and more people are monitoring our credit, but we need to know what it means when we see changes in our credit history. So when you access your credit report, what you will see is all your negative and positive credit accounts for at least 7 years worth. It can be longer because some of those negative account files, they know how to reset the clock, it's called, by causing activity on a credit account. Sometimes it's good to have 7 years, more than 7 years worth on a positive account that you might have. Any past addresses, phone numbers, employers that you've had will show on your credit report. Your social security number will show on your credit report unless you check the little box on annualcreditreport.com that says to block that out. So be careful if you're accessing it with more people in the room than you expect, or if you're going to print it, make sure that you secure that important number of yours. You'll see credit inquiries that you've allowed and others that past creditors might be checking up on you or things like that. But there's a difference between those. When you allow it for the opportunity for more credit or for shopping around for auto insurance or something like that, then that's called a hard inquiry, and that does impact your credit score. Looks like you're shopping around for credit, so it brings your score down just a little bit. The ones that you initiate when you check your own file, or if past current creditors that you have, or just checking to see how you're doing. That is called a soft inquiry, and that doesn't impact your score. The biggest and most important thing you'll see in your credit file is your debt repayment profile. How well do you pay your bills on time? That's an important factor. And also any information for your creditors, how to reach them if you need to, a phone number or an address, will be in the credit file because you have the right to do that if you need to. Once you see all that information, you can kind of judge your own credit score. It's going to range somewhere between 300 and 850, with 850 being the highest, the number we strive for. But that number is made up of a formula that takes into account your payment history, the amounts you owe versus what you have access to, the length of your credit history, how much of your credit is new credit, and then what types of credit you're using. So payment history, you'll see, is the biggest factor that affects your credit score. When you're more than 30 days late on a credit payment, that's reported to the credit bureau, and that brings your score down. So that making your payments on time, or at least not more than 30 days late, is the best way to help keep your credit score in a good place. The amount you owe versus how much you have access to. So, for example, if you have a credit card that has a $1,000 limit, so your limit is up here, and you've only spent maybe about $100 of that. So what you owe versus how much you have access to, there's a big gap in between there. The more you spend and don't pay off, the smaller that gap gets. So when the amount that you owe is very close to what you have access to, that makes your score go down. You're overextending on credit according to the credit bureaus. The length of your credit history is determined by an average aging of all your accounts. So keep that in mind. If you're about to cancel a credit account that you've had for a really long time, that might impact your credit score. It's 15% of that formula, but it does impact it. So other factors, your new credit. If you haven't been using a credit account very long, the account holder doesn't really know if you've had a chance to mess up or show how well you do with credit. So you're a little bit risky when the credit is new and they don't have a history on you yet. And then the type of credit in use is really kind of important, because installment credit is seen as the wiser use of credit. You purchase something for a set amount, and each time you make a payment for that loan on that item, the balance comes down. That's an installment loan. There's something they can take away if you don't make those payments. That's seen as the wise use of credit. We usually use installment credit to purchase things we can't afford to pay for all at once, like a car or a home. Then there's revolving credit. You want to be careful about having too many revolving credit accounts on your credit history, because revolving credit is a little more risky, right? It revolves. You purchase things, you pay on your balance, you purchase things, you pay on your balance, and that number is always revolving, going up, going down in a circle. They don't know where you're going to stop. So, and there's usually nothing they can take away if you fail to make the payments. So revolving accounts are seen as a little bit riskier than installment loans. Keep that in mind. The wise use of credit, of course, we want to use credit for installment loans to buy things we really can't afford to pay for all at the same time, like a home or a car. We can use credit for an education, but we want to be careful to make sure we're getting a degree that will create a salary high enough to pay back those educational expenses. And we want to make sure we're going to a financial institution that is going to be worthy of our dollars. So we want also the wise use of credit is being a smart consumer, taking advantage of those perks that come with the use of credit. Things like deferring interest or cash back on purchases that you could, or miles to go on that dream vacation. That's the wise use of credit. The unwise use of credit is when we're not managing those revolving accounts, or maybe we have too many installment accounts. How many cars do you want to make a loan payment on each month, right? So when we're buying things that we can't afford and we can't pay off our balance at the end of the month, and we have to carry that balance, it starts costing us money to use credit. If we have too many accounts and too many cards that we are, a little bit of money left on this card, then I can spend it because this one's all maxed out. It's not a good game to play. That gets us overextended on credit and causes us to make late payments. And then we have fees that are just nuisance fees as a penalty for not managing our credit well. So when we're using tomorrow's money to pay for today, it's not sustainable. We want to make sure that we're using today's money to pay for today so we have tomorrow's money to spend on tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. What we want to make sure is we don't overextend on credit so we don't end up defaulting on our debts because that really impacts our credit score. Then there's some different types of credit cards that we have access to. Some people use a secured credit card to help build their credit score. A secured credit card is one where you send the financial institution a certain amount of money, like $300 or $500, and they send you a card. First, they'll take out the fees for them allowing you to do this, spend your own money on a credit card. And then they'll say, you have this much of a balance left of how much you gave us. Now you can use your own money, make the payments on that, and show us that you can manage your credit, and we'll give you our standard credit card after that once you show us that you know how to manage credit. But it is a way to build your credit score and show that you can manage credit. But make sure whoever's offering that secured card is actually reporting your credit use to the credit bureaus. If they're not, then it's not helping you to build a credit score. Just a good question to ask. When someone refers to a charge card, it really means the store-specific card, like a Kohl's card or an Exxon card, something like that, that you can only use at that one brand store. That keeps you, if you have a store-specific card, you kind of get perks from that store. They want you to come back and keep purchasing at their store, so they'll offer things like Kohl's does Kohl's Bucks that you earn. The more you spend, the more discounts you earn. It's easy to get in trouble that way, but it is also a good way to build your credit score, and it's often easier to get a charge card to help build a credit report, credit file, than to get a standard credit card. Some parents will get their teens or young adults a student card where they have a card on their parents' account, but it has student control, so the parents allow the child or the youth to practice using credit without the pitfalls that could come with bad credit decisions. So it gives them a little more of a safety net while they're learning to use credit. Then there's the standard card, and then we just all love showing our gold and platinum and titanium cards. It's a status symbol, and it is a status symbol. It's just like a regular standard classic credit card, but it comes with the status and sometimes some more perks, deeper discounts, and you earn those by having a higher credit score. So with good work comes good reward. Those bigger benefits from using credit. But it takes managing your credit wisely to qualify for those things. And of course, we want to use credit because it has some advantages. Credit cards especially are really easy to use, but it's so easy that it doesn't seem like you're spending real money. You walk out of a store, you have a bag of something brand new you really wanted, and you have all the money still in your wallet. Wow, it doesn't seem like I spent real money and I have this new thing. But then at the end of the month, the bill comes in, and oh no, I forgot I bought that brand new thing that I already stopped looking at, and I used that money that was supposed to be for my utility bill to buy that brand new. Oops. It's really easy to overspend with a credit card. But you can make online purchases, especially in a pandemic when we're all having to quarantine a little bit, stay away. It's easy to be pulling out that credit card, those online purchases. The other advantage I talked about already, those cash backs and perks that come with credit card use, WISE credit card use, and the benefit of renting a car, spoke to someone recently who rented a car without a credit card. They used their debit card instead. They didn't really appreciate the $500 hold on their checking account while they were using that rental car. Right? That's the benefit of having a credit card. You don't have that hold on your checking account while you're on vacation. But then there's the fees that come along with a credit card. Financial institutions have made record profit from fees year after year after year because they know that we will use credit, we'll sometimes mess up, and they charge us a fee for going over our limit or not paying on time or whatever, transferring a balance. It's just a little bit of a fee, but then to not pay that interest that was on our old card while we transferred to a zero interest card and save some money. But then there's a little fee with that. So watch the fees. So if you're looking for a credit card, please avoid those unsolicited offers that come in your mailbox. They're oftentimes the worst offers we can find. I actually saw one that was probably advertising that they would give their card at 24% interest. I'm so excited I have to apply for that. Not. 7 criteria that you need to compare for determining which is the best credit card offer will be shown in a box format. It's called a Schumer box, and a lot of us have seen this in the credit card that come in the mail. They, by law, have to put these certain criteria in that box format to make it easy for us to look at and compare. So if you are tired of all those terrible offers that come in your mail unsolicited, and you're tired of just recycling the mail as soon as it comes, you can go to optout.screen.com on the web and opt out of pre-screen offers. I don't want to be pre-screened for your offer. Or you can actually go to your do not call list, federal do not call number, or the do not call number for your state. Look it up. It's there, and you can cut down on all those calls and offers that you really want. So what are those features that we want to look at? Well, we choose a low rate, of course, because if we do carry a balance, we don't want to be charged a lot for that. Actually, if we never carry a balance and we're never on a payment, we will never have to see our AP if we charged our annual percentage. Isn't that nice? You can use a credit card completely free if you never carry a balance. But looking at APRs, annual percentage rates, 0% is the lowest. You'll see that often. It's a teaser rate. Switch over to us for just a little bit and you pay any interest. Make sure you know when the date of that teaser rate runs out. You don't get hit with the big interest. If you're transferring a balance, you have a certain amount of time to pay that off before the zero interest rate goes away. Make sure you know that date and budget and make sure that payment is off because there's going to be a fee to transfer that balance, almost guaranteed. And then it's going to be a rate that kicks in after that teaser rate is over. And may not end up being money, so you better do the math. All I'm saying. You compare the average right now across the United States, 16% the average interest rate on a card. Pretty good. Are you average or below above average or below? Things to think about right now. If the rate is going to change on your card, by law, they have to let you know that with 45 days notice, and they can't increase the rate on you. The credit card, but increase your rate, your opening rate for 12 months after you've opened that card. There are some exceptions to those teaser rates that they. So there are other rates on that general APR. That's going to be the normal one, but then there are other things we do that they want to charge a different annual percent rate on. Things like balance transfers, that 0% interest rate becomes a different rate, right? Take a cash advance out. Well, that's going to be a higher interest rate. And by the way, they're going to charge you interest from the moment you make that cash advance. There is no grace period with that. Keep that in mind. If you've defaulted on your payments, means you've paid your payment late, then they say, oh, your default rate is going to be this. After you make a one late payment, we're going to bump up your interest rate to probably 21, 24, 29% interest. and it'll be at that rate until you show that you can make your payments on time for a certain month, and then we'll pocket you back down. So it's a penalty for being late. Besides impacting your credit score, it also impacts your wallet. So make sure you pay your credit accounts on time. The rate can be variable or it can be fixed. Rare to find a fixed rate on a credit card anymore, by the way. But make sure you know if it's a variable rate, what's the minimum and the maximum that it can go to before you apply for that card. You want to know that. And like I mentioned before, if there's going to be a rate change, your credit card company has to give you 5 days notice before those change. You also want to look at what the grace period is in your account. There's a great time you have to pay that bill before any interest fees are applied to that balance. So I'm sure that you have time to get that bill in mail if you have to use mail, get the money in and get to the credit card company before the late date, or you're going to have to pay a late fee. But period is when there's no balance carried. Balance, you pay it. You pay the date it comes in, or you pay the bill on when it comes in, and there's no interest applied until the next period. We're going to talk about that on the next slide. But by law, the period is supposed to be at least 21 days. It can be longer. I have a longer grade. It's something I want. Computing balance. So your credit card balance can change daily, right? You know, how much you're paying, you bought, all everything, up and down, revolving it on. Well, they have to do an average daily balance. They take the average of every single day in the billing cycle, that together, and that's the what they charge you interest on. What they also want to know is, are they including or my new purchase? Say I'm carrying a balance, and then I buy something new next month. I paid last month's off in full. If my terms say that it's including new purchases, well, then that I'm paying interest on that new item the moment I buy it, just because I'm carrying a balance on items I bought. If my terms say excluding new purchases, well, that means I get a month without interest on that new item or any interest kicks in. That's really important. Great period here comes into play with this including, excluding. And what percent of balance that you're carrying your minimum payment? Well, probably 2%. That's all they want. If you're carrying $1,000 balance, you've bought $1,000 worth of things and haven't paid for it yet. Company wants $20 of the total balance. How long is it going to take you to pay off that $1 if you're just paying minimum payment of $20 a month? So by law, payments are paid over the minimum payment must be applied higher balance first. If I told the credit card companies they would do that because they were not. That helps us consumers a little bit. So when we have that default rate, or we have that the cash withdrawal, cash advance credit card, and we have that higher interest rate, along with our just regular interest rate purchases we made, well, we're paying over the minimum with being applied to that highest interest rate balance. It's something. So fees. I mentioned before, credit card companies, financial institutions, they love fees. What we do is avoid fees. Look for credit card terms that have an annual fee. That means they're going to charge you an annual bill every year or so. They go, hey, we're carrying our card here. $50 for the pleasure of doing it. You can find cards that have no annual fee. And you can also find credit cards that finance charges. That means they're paying a fee for doing what they're supposed to do, to find the processing of your payments. So you want to try to avoid balance transfer fees. I mentioned that before. At a 0% introductory rate for a balance transfer, the fee is less than what you would have on what transfer. Yeah, they want to charge us a fee for that and then charge us interest from the minute that we fees, of course. That's big news. Over limit. Oh, you spent more than you told us in. We're going to report that. Now you're really over limit. An account, well, it shows your credit company and your charge fee for using the account. I traced you. No, I'm your customer. Don't charge me your account. And then there's a transaction fee. Every time I use my card, it's burning a few dollars. No, there you can get credits that don't charge transaction fees. Really can't avoid it for friends. So be aware of that if you're outside the country and use your card. And a monthly maintenance fee, what is that? That's paying somebody, I guess that's paying somebody to process my statement for me. I don't want a credit card. So, was the best card for me, and now I'm going to use UNWISE. What are some management practices in play to make sure my card wise? I'm always going to pay on time, right? Yes, I'm low late fee. Due date this month, and they're not late until after 5 p.m. You know, we have a bit of assurance that we know when our payment is due. For it to be as it is due. So late, we have the biggest negative effect on your score. So most importantly, we can do our credit stays in a beneficial range, 740 or above is best. We time. We can do. Also, pay more than them. Bring a credit card balance, and they're taking the minimum. So they're going to be in revolving credit for a long time. So make a plan to pay as much as you can every month, or pay it off in full. And that's the best way to manage your credit. Then you don't use a card for free time and pay the balance. Simple. So start with the credit card. If you have more than one account, you're trying to pay the balance. The payment push. The card that has the highest interest rate. Do it and see how much money you the minimum to that highest interest account. Pay only the minimum amounts until you get that high card paid off, and you take the money you were applying to that highest interest added to the money you were paying on the next highest interest account, and get that balance paid off. That little by little, called the snowball effect. Adding payment, money, and finally just wipe these balances up. To make sure that you pay off your credit card balances without paying too much interest. But pay the cost you can. One card, pay the balance, and then you can use your credit. That you have access to. Oh my God! You know, the cards in there. I love being a low, but yeah, there's that we carry around some temptation to spend money. So that you use and that you plan when you're shopping, then you can get your extra credit. You don't have access to it. So only how you know what you can afford. Your balance is full. Avoid late fees if you only buy what you can afford and use that credit card completely free. But you know, yourself. Are you an ale shop to the store? No, that's not me. No. But I know that that plan, I include line in my spending plan. I do. I know as soon as I say those shoes, my next thought is, did I spend the shoe money yet? Did I pay off my credit card? So I can right back up with my next shoe. Can I do that? Yes, and my balances was zero before I have the money to pay once full. I'm going to get some get some cash. Those shoes are going to cost me. You love it. Your police statement every month. Just sometimes transactions on a state thing. Sure that you bank how much you how much and also it knows you how long you're going to take to pay off in the middle payment. There's a nice going to write our statement every month. Difference is an percentage rate thing. Just get higher credit, less for credit. Let's see. Here's $3,000 those. It's less than a average rate in America. Yay! Here's great higher than result, and if you only pay the minimum totalance each month, that's only dollars you will pay on the dollar balance. And then what if you say it's going to be long and 17 months to pay what? You may 17 7 and the credit company dollars thing. Yeah, you had it for and you qualified for 12% interest rate. $8,000 balance, same bad practice. We're not going to talk about an example. But if we're doing that at 12%, it was only and the 70 months, $6 a month, and $200 to pay back the $3,000 you spend doing services. So it's more than $3,000. You get that credit company something, but at least to act an interest. I do that we get your credit card company go for a while. I feels on think I'm done. Oh, it's worth it. A year late fee statement, and you can find out take the if you open the minimum payment well, my web bankrate.com. Website like.com and that's bankrate.com. Calculators, you financial decisions. They're in their services. Also, yeah. Strategic about paying on balances. If you have keeping control, managing credit service, I can recommend reputable. You can check reputable and then the fees they're going to charge you and for the big flag. It has money up. They'll do the source check their reputation. This is while or federal commission. Well, it has to be equity and IFAS. And spending habits. If you're spending, get a loan, instead of loans are gifted, well, which you have to really good, and you and yes, hi, and oh no, consolidation loan. So we have to consolidation work if you and really, really we have to think the last resort for financiers more than 4 years. Yeah, but most of us will read what they is a like that's free again. That means the court want payment. They give us and we have to get by law. Oh, you want to try and be because I found that's in financial that some uses credit card. They can you're so like so they were me today about credit and revolving credit cards we can use to access support and for my and we talked about well, you did all that with your extension service. Well, hair extension, or definitely operation or like right? Where each your experience in adult education program for by state government county, you have access to always by presentations, watch all kinds of education, read non and